as a host stops working. I'm not really sure why. Okay, so I wanted to talk a little bit about the immune system. I think especially with the potential for more moving about in society happening soon, we have this, just a little heightened conversation going on around, is this wise? And are we putting ourselves at more risk and things like that? And I've really come to the thought around, what do you have control over, and what do you not have control over? And of course you have control over where you go, but one thing that we have a lot of control over from a yoga perspective is how to take care of our body, our physical body, and our emotional and mental bodies to the point where our immune system is at its most prime capacity for keeping us healthy. So, we can shore up our defenses a little bit to help us stay strong and healthy during this time. And there's a lot that can be done in yoga for that. So first is just anything that reduces stress in your life: meditation, yoga, good sleep, laughter, all sorts of things that that help you with stress are something to make sure you're getting a steady diet of. But from a very physical perspective in our yoga practice, there's lots of things we can do with our poses that really emphasize the functioning of our lymphatic vessels. Of course, this is only one little piece of our immune system, the actual physicality of lymph moving through our body, but it's something that we have a fair amount of influence over from our practice. So we're going to do a practice that's geared toward the lymph today. And I know I've talked about this before, but just a little bit of a review. All of your lymph through your whole body is not a circulatory system like your cardiovascular system without a heart, to pump the fluid through. So all the vessels start throughout your body, in your extremities, through your torso, everywhere, and they all have to come right through here. There's two ducts in your lymphatic vessels that dump back into the cardiovascular system right behind your collarbones, and it's the only place where the lymph drains back into the regular circulatory system. So not only is our lymph a part of our immune system in the sense that lymph nodes can trap microbes and debris, cellular debris, and white blood cells live there to help us defend, but also our lymph is our fluid regulation system. So if you are stagnant a fair amount, like stuck at a computer, hunched over all day, we can get very trapped up and stagnant in these ducts in our body around our collarbones. And also we can just get stuck everywhere. So fluid can get retained. I'm sure you've all had the experience of sitting on an airplane for a while and your feet feel a little swollen. So any movement of any kind can help with this. The prime thing that pumps the lymph through the body is the movement of our muscles. When muscles open and release, this squeeze kind of impacts the lymph vessels and keeps fluid moving. So that's the most important thing we can do, is just make sure we're moving regularly throughout the day. Not just like, okay, it's time for my half hour of exercise and then I'm going to sit for the rest of the day, but really having this capacity to have movement throughout our day. So whatever you do, yoga or otherwise, is going to help you. Now, from a yoga perspective, there's a lot of, so the lymph nodes in our body, in our elbows and in our armpits and in our neck and our groin and behind our knees, these pits of our body, when we open and close the pits of our body, it tends to really help move fluid through the lymph nodes. So we're going to have a practice today that really helps to open and close and stimulate the flow of lymph, as well as trying to work with this area to, kind of broaden and open so that we don't get stuck in this trapped little area where we want our lymph to drain from. So let's start with our breath. So take a moment to close your eyes and settle into your posture. And know that your breath impacts everything, right? And definitely it impacts your lymph drainage and the flow of lymph in your body. I don't think it's a mistake that you have a lot of deep lymph right around where your diaphragm is, and you have these big vessels right at the top of your lungs. So the movement of our breath is just like our muscles. It can move the fluids in our body well. So let's just take a moment to soften in, to close the eyes, settle into any kind of softness you can find. So start with your face. the ways you strain to experience the world outward, your eyes, your ears, your jaw, your tongue, deep inside your sinuses. Let all these places in your body start to rest. Maybe you can feel the base of your skull soften a bit. And as you start to feel softer, more easeful, notice if you feel a little more fluid. See if you can kind of drop down into the fluid nature of your body. We're mostly water, so hopefully it isn't too hard to feel liquidy. And let's start exploring the breath. Let's come into this three-dimensionality of the breath, where we feel the entire rib cage, everything moving out away from the center in all directions as we inhale, and everything drawing back in toward the center as we exhale. Notice, where do you go first? Where is this easy? Where do you find the capacity to move well in your breath? And then what parts are a little stuck, are a little, not very mobile, a little absent from your view? And let's pay particular attention to the very top rims of the breath. So our lungs can kind of peek out over, they're back there behind the collarbones, the lungs are, and they can kind of peek up, even get a little higher than the collarbones, the lungs can, when we have a full, complete inhale. So just imagine the top portions of your lungs expanding behind the collarbones. Let's go ahead and let them release. So know that even though we tend to live up top in the breath a lot, we tend to live in the center top. We don't necessarily kind of peek out to the edges of our top breath. Can you feel the top lungs in the back of your body, not just in the front? Can you feel the lungs near the armpits, kind of on the inside, reaching toward the armpits? And take a moment to experience the bottom of the container as well. See if you can feel the diaphragm drop down and wide as you inhale, and back in and up as you exhale. And even though we're moving, in this quality of three-dimensionality, let's for a moment focus on the top and bottom of the container. Can you feel the top of your lungs, the bottom of your lungs open up and expand on your inhale? Like a cylinder that pushing out through the tops and bottoms, and then exhale and retreat. And now after this next exhale, fill up everywhere. So one last full awareness of, maybe not the last, but full awareness of the three-dimensionality of your breath. Back body, armpits, bottoms, tops. And then let's begin to bring our hands to our heart and take a moment to offer, what if you were moving your fluids well in your body? What kind of flow does that give you? If you feel resilient and strong, what kind of mindset and body set does that give you? Let's set an intention for your practice, for healing on any level, for strengthening on any level that you need. And then release the hands, and let's come onto our back. All right. So as you lie down, like we often do when we start our practice, see if you can get that sense that you're stretching out your limbs. So arms and legs are wide apart from each other. And notice the backs of your knees. We've been sitting for a little bit, so just notice what the backs of your knees feel like as you stretch. And even though I feel like I'm constantly encouraging everyone to not hyperextend your knees, for a moment, let's just try to stretch the backs of your knees as much as you can. If you have a little hyperextension and your heels lift up off the ground, that's how you can tell if you're hyperextended. That's okay. You're not going to hurt yourself in this position to have hypermobile knees. So let's just take a moment to stretch the backs of the knees and then add the arms to it. And let's have a really active starfish. So sometimes we do this more energetically. Right now I want you to do it very physically. Engage your muscles, squeeze your quadriceps, stretch your palms, stretch the bottom of your feet, and then relax. And let your body melt into the floor and feel a little more softness. Let's do that one more time. Take a deep breath in, stretch, engage, flex, open what you can, hands and feet, backs of knees, armpits, and then relax and melt. Let's go ahead and bring your knees into your chest and circle a few times. Just notice, how's your back today? How are your hips today? How are your SI joints today? Just kind of paying attention to what you're feeling. If there's parts of your body that need particular care and love. All right, let's do this a couple of times. Inhale, stretching out big and wide, arms and legs wide on the floor. Exhale, now we're going to pick up our head and squeeze in. One more time, getting big and wide, open things up. Exhale, knees into the chest, chin up. All your air out, squeeze your air out. One last time, expanding open. Now when we come in on this, we're gonna hold it for a moment. So pick up your head, squeeze in all your air out, and squeeze your face, your feet, and everything in between. And then relax. Put your head down and bring your right knee into your chest, left leg long on the floor. Okay, feel free to wiggle your toes and ankles like we sometimes do, but mostly I want you to just feel that compression in the hip and behind the knee. And then we're gonna do the other side, compression into the hip and behind the knee. So remember, this opening and closing is really important for the flow of lymph. So we're gonna move a little faster. I want you to make sure as you start to draw right knee and then left knee, that you're paying attention not just to the compression, but to the extension behind the knee and into the hip as you straighten the leg out as well. Also notice, because this is moving faster, you have to use your core a little bit more. Have you lost your capacity to breathe well? To stay in the full breath as much as you can, even though there's work. Feel the warming that's happening in your hips as you go back and forth. Giving a little squeeze, opening up. And then pause, 2 knees in, and then stretch one more time. This time, arms are overhead. Stretch the right side of your body, stretch the left side of your body. Just open up the armpit chest a little bit. Feel the backs of your knees again. And then go ahead and relax your arms down. Let's go ahead and roll over onto our side and come up onto our hands and our knees. So as we start to find some movement here, finding the flow of cat-cows in your body, let's start paying attention. Now we're opening and closing some different windows. So you can feel the vertebral windows opening as you round the back, opening in the front as you arch your back. And stay with the breath. See if you can keep the breath moving fluidly through you. How do you like to inhale? Where do you like to exhale? Is there any pattern that you feel most fluid in the body? Let's add just a little bit of strength here. So as you exhale, draw the belly in, round the spine, push the floor away a little bit, hold that for just a moment, and then release and relax. So feel free to move any way you want to move. So you can move through your shoulders, you can move through your hips, any kind of patterning that feels really good in your body. And then eventually you're going to find our way back to child's pose. So feel that compression through the backs and the knees and the hips again. Lengthen through your spine. Walk the hands over to the left side of your mat. And if your shoulders don't like being overhead, you can do this with your, you can do it a few different ways. If your shoulder bothers you, you can take your hand and just lift your elbow up. And sometimes that changes something. You can also just have your hand out at your side. So just open up the armpits as much as you can and feel that connection if your hands are over your head, from your fingers to your hip. Take your breath, feed your breath right into the side body to open things up. Notice how your breath can be like that pump, just like movement of your muscles can be. And then walk over to the other side, inching your hands the other way, opening up the side ribs of the body. And then, of course, if your knee or your hip doesn't allow for some deep flexion, you just go where you go. Just find as much as your body can allow at this moment in time. The back of the head is soft, the neck is soft. And then come back to center. All right, so we're going to just come into some flow here. Inhale, come up onto your shins, arms come up over your head. Exhale, and lower yourself down. Now, a few different movements you can have for your shoulders. Just try bringing your arms in front of you instead of out to the side. And then exhale and come down. So you do you. If you can't bring your arms overhead, just try to stretch your arms open like that. Okay, so you find what's right. One more time. And then exhale, feeling that opening and closing. Come back up onto all fours. We're going to find our twist that we often do here. Lift the arm up in the air and slide that left arm through, or your right, whichever one you're doing first. Gaze toward the floor. Have a gentle push of your hand on the floor. Not enough to have bones be pushing you into the twist, but enough to have a sense of the direction that you want your body to be flowing. And just like you wring out a sponge in your sink and there's water involved in that, right? The whole, opening the sponge up, squeezing the sponge is all for movement of fluid. So see if you can find the breath giving that same action. So as you inhale and exhale, can you feel the sense of squeezing that happens through your body? Like you're wringing out a sponge. And then inhale, come on up. Bring your arm in the air if you want to. Place your hand down onto the ground. Second side. Slide that shoulder down. Enjoy the twisting in your body. Gentle pressure of your hand on the floor. See what it's giving you. What kind of sponging effect can you get with your breath? Can you sense, and even if you can't sense, can you intend that you're moving fluids, right? So with your breath, try to stay in the fluid body as much as you can. And then inhale, reach that arm up to the sky, place the hand down onto the ground, and find dog pose. Now, I know I'm often harping on not to extend the knees too much, but I just want you to feel it now. So feel free to bend one knee so you can really open up the back of your knee and the bottom of your foot on the other leg. And then switch, going back and forth. So you can either just pedal your feet, you can also cross the knee that's bent toward the midline, so you really have a little more access to get the hips involved in it. So you find whatever movement's going to help you open the backs of the knees and the bottoms of the feet. How's your breath here? All right, and then settle into a full dog pose. Feel a sense of spaciousness across your chest. How are your collarbones? Do they smush toward each other in this pose? Can you broaden things out? Root into the index finger mounds and lengthen through your spine. Open up the backs of the legs. Lift the sit bones, stretch the heels, open the bottom of the feet, and spread your bones. All right, and then as you're ready, walk your feet forward. Don't forget about your breath. Keep finding it over and over again. Relax the head. Feel free to wiggle and waggle any feeling that feels good. Inhale for a halfway lift. You can hold your shins or thighs, extending the spine. Open the backs of the legs again. Sit bones high, feet broad. Exhale and bend, soften the knees. Fold. Push off your feet, rise up, lifting the arms to the sky. If you're ever dizzy when you do this, you can tuck your chin and bring your hands down. And let's open up to a cactus. Spread open the chest. And then exhale and round in. We're going to bring our arms straight out to the side. Start with your palms facing the walls on either side of you so that you're opening up the palms. Spread your hand. You want your hands spread really wide apart. Drop the shoulders down. Spread from your collarbones to your fingers. So I'm hoping you're finding a little zing through your hands here. And now I want you to flip your palms up toward the sky. Shoulder blades down the back. Stretch from your sternum to your palms. Spread out your palms. Drop your fingers toward the floor so our palms are facing out. And only go to a place where you're comfortable. Open your palms, open your elbows, open your chest. And then reach your arms back up to the sky. Exhale and fold in half. Inhale and lengthen through your spine. Exhale and melt back down. Let's step our left foot back, our right foot's forward. Blocks are nice. If you have yoga blocks, you can use them. We're going to put our back knee down onto the floor. So come on up. As we often do to warm up our legs, we're going to do it just a little bit differently with our knee down on the floor. So if you don't have blocks, you can hold on to furniture to do this. You can also hold on to your leg or your hips, or you can have your arms out. So you decide where you want to be. We're going to come to half Hanumasana, opening your foot, and then coming back into a lunge, opening up the hip flexors of the back leg. If you have blocks that you want to be on, you can use your blocks to put your hands for some support. So whatever is working for you. Notice if you're scrunched up, try not to collapse the chest as you do this. Open across the collarbones and the heart, no matter what you're doing with your hands. All right, let's go ahead and come back to a lunge now. Pick up your back knee. You can always put your knee on the floor. There's always ways to back off everything. There's always a way to deepen everything. So if you're comfortable, take your back knee up off the floor, extend the spine, feel your heart, and as you're ready, reach up. We're going to do crescent lunge a little bit differently. Interlace your hands behind your neck, like old school sit up, but we're going to take our elbows wide and open our chest, and then we're going to round in, elbows toward each other. Try not to pull on your neck. Let this be an action of your thoracic spine more than an action of your hands and your elbows yanking on your neck. One more time. Big chest opening. Exhale, round the spine. Come on up. Reach the arms, extend through the armpits, reach and extend upward. Place the hands down onto the ground and step your back foot forward. Inhale for a halfway lift. Exhale and melt back down. Let's take the other side. Left foot forward, right foot back, knee down on the floor. Let's find our movement here. So we're moving into a lunge, and then we're moving into half Hanumasana. So this front leg straightens, the chest is big and broad, just going back and forth. So we're opening the hip flexor, and then we're opening the back of the knee. Feeling that rhythmic movement. Make sure you're breathing. Are you letting the lungs be that three-dimensionality, moving everywhere? Opening up the bottom of the foot. All right, and then the next time you come into your lunge, let's go ahead and pick up your back knee if you want to. Find your place. So you might need to move your feet around, spread out the bones of your feet, and rise up. You can keep your hands on your hips just as easily as the hands on the neck. So if your shoulders don't like this, you can do the pose like this, okay? Interlace the weird way behind your head, open things up, lift your chest, broaden things out. Make sure when you're in this pose that you're not real arched in the low back. You don't want to be like this. You want to have that extension. Open the chest, and as you exhale, round in, elbows moving toward each other. Finding your breath rhythm. What do the armpits feel like? What do the collarbones feel like? Can you open things up without compressing the low back too much? Let's do one more. And then exhale. Round in. Reaching the arms, extending open. Try not to compress the back. Feel a sense of spaciousness. And then as you're ready, place the hands down, come into a plank. Okay? So the body is a straight line like a board. Shoulders away from the ears, find that sense of stability. Can you broaden your collarbones like you're stretching them apart from each other? All right, let's put our knees down onto the floor and slowly melt downward. Okay. Opening the chest, cobra pose. Exhale and melt back down. Let's try one more time. Inhale, come on up. And then exhale. So now put your hands out in front of you, put your head on your hands or arms down at your sides. And actually everybody do this. Bring your arms down and turn your head one side or the other. And just notice for a moment, do you collapse the heads of your arm bones into the floor? Turn the palms down instead of the palms up. And see if this gives you a little bit of a capacity to take the shoulder blades to attention on the back, just a little bit. So the heads of the arm bones move away from the floor. Find your breath. Switch your head to the other side. While you're here now, stabilize your pelvis, pubic bone a little bit toward your navel. And notice the breathing. See if you can feel the feedback of the floor for the front of the body for this three-dimensionality of the breath. All right, and then release the hands next to you. Push up onto all fours. You're gonna have a moment to just circle the pelvis or sway from side to side, anything that you want in your back, before coming back to a deep compression in the hips again, child's pose. Inhale and lift up, dog pose. Finding your breath. All right, so while we're here, we're going to lift the right leg up in the air, hips are square. Exhale and bring your knee to your nose. Squeeze it all out, push all your air out. Be the sponge. One more time. Open your sponge up. Exhale, squeeze your sponge. Collarbones are staying broad. Reach the leg up. Let's bring your foot forward to a lunge again. We're gonna take a twist of any kind you want to take. So your hand can stay on the ground and your arm can lift up. Your elbow can come to your knee and your palms can find each other, or your hand on your shoulder. You can come upward and take a twist. You can take your hands to get out, or your elbows out and find a twist. So whatever's working for you, whatever twist is right, keep lifting your femur bone. Extend the spine and find the twist, find the sponge. Collarbones are broad. And then exhale and release your hand down onto the ground. Back foot forward. Inhale for a halfway lift. Exhale and melt. I won't forget about the three-legged dog. Bring your foot back. Come into a lunge on the other side. So our left foot is forward here. And you get to define where that twist lives in your body. You can be upright with your elbows out. You can be hands out. You can be elbow on your knee. You can be hand on the floor. Okay, so whichever pose you're choosing to do, make sure this back leg femur bone is lifting, that your crown and tail are extending away from each other. The collarbones are broadening. The three-dimensional breath is living well inside your sponge. Great, and then place your hands down. Three-legged dog. Lift that leg straight up in the air. Hips are square. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, knee to nose. Bring it all in. Bring it all out. Deep breath. One more time. Bring it back. Place your foot down. Come forward into a plank. Hold steady. Broaden it. So if you tend to shrink up the collarbones, what would it feel like to broaden them out? And then let's put our knees onto the ground and slowly lower ourselves to the floor. Interlace your fingers the weird way. Behind your back, lift the heads of the arm bones away from the floor. Try to stabilize through the center of your body with your core. Take a deep breath and lift everything up. Legs and arms. Your legs can be close or far. Find your breath. Let your breath move your whole body. Feel the compression along your diaphragm. Let this be a massage for all that internal lymph in your belly. The back of the neck stays long. Collarbones are broad. All right, and then relax. Put your hands down at your sides. Palms are facing down. Windshield wiper your knees. Turn your head from one side to the other. Feel the breath. Feel the response of the floor, the feedback that you're getting from the floor as your ribs move. All right, and then come back and come all the way back to child's pose. Settle the hips. If you don't like going that deeply at first, just pause here and do some moving around in cat-cow, and then find your way into the deep compression of your hips and your knees again. Rise up. Deep breath, lean back. Exhale. Lean in. Okay, we are going back up for some more standing poses, but I just want to take a little moment on the ground. We're going to come onto the floor, bend your knees, feet on the ground. Interlace your fingers behind your head. You can choose comfortable way, weird way, whichever feels better. We're going to do both at some point, so start with one or the other. And we're just going to, at the risk of old school, high school, competition, how many sit-ups can you do in a minute with somebody holding your ankles kind of thing, I don't want you to get that feeling. I want you to get the feeling that you can come up with your chest and your head a little bit. So we're not trying to pull on our neck, but we are going to bring our elbows in and out. So as you inhale, lift up, bring your elbows toward each other without pulling on your neck, and then open your chest out as you bring your body back down onto the floor. So exhale as you come up. Don't yank on your neck. Inhale as you come out. Exhale as you come up. Inhale. So try to make this action all about the torso instead of about pulling on your neck and using the strength of your arms. So we are drawing our elbows in, but this is more about opening and closing the armpits than it is about trying to pull our heads up. Okay, so rest the head in the hands. Let's do a couple more. Full exhale, compress in. Full inhale, open the elbows out. And then relax. And we're going to do something very similar, but now you get to switch the cross of your fingers. So weird or not weird, whichever's working for you, whatever you did differently. So we're going to pick up our head and shoulders just a little bit, like hovering off the floor. And this time I want you to take yourself to the side. So we're elbow toward the hip, inhale back, elbow toward the other hip and back. So obviously we're working with the obliques here, but what I want you to feel is as you're compressing one side, spend as much tension as you can into opening the opposite side so that you're feeling that the armpit chest can both close and open. Once again, the head is resting on the hands instead of feeling like you have to yank on your neck. You can take a little breaks and rest for a moment if you need to before moving on. As much attention on the extension as the flexion. And as you're ready, let's settle the head back down. Cactus, open your arms for a moment. Take a deep breath. We're going to stretch our arms and legs wide on the floor, everything open. Exhale and draw in. Roll over onto your side and come up onto to standing. Grab your strap. And I totally forgot to tell you to make sure you have a strap. So if you don't have a yoga strap, go grab a scarf or a belt or something that you can, I hope you have something handy. But if not, go find something. And we're going to stand on our strap. So this yoga strap I'm using is a short yoga strap, so I don't have to, wrap too much. But if you have something really long, you might need to wrap a little bit. So you want to get to the place where you have a snug hold on the strap, and you can use your feet to draw down the strap and lift your chest up. So this is a little bit of opening across the collarbones. What I want you to avoid is this, where you're kind of pushing your chest forward and squeezing the shoulder blades and the ribs pop forward. Try to avoid that And we're just moving with crown and tail, lifting. The shoulder blades are drawing a little bit toward each other, heads and the arm bones back, but not enough to push our chest forward. Feel the extension across your collarbones. And then relax that for a moment. And let your chest round and curl in. Feel that change. And then come back up. And this time when we do it again, find that pressure again. So rooting the feet, holding a taut strap so that you're opening across your collarbones. And now I just want you to lift one ear. And then back to center and lift the other ear. Spread open the collarbones. One more time each side. Spread open the collarbones. Let the lungs, the top lungs, peak over top of the collarbones. Come back. One more time this side. All right, and then relax. Fold a little bit round. Grab your elbows. Let your collarbones soften and loosen. Bend your knees as much as you want. Curl in on yourself as much as feels good. And then inhale, shrug your shoulders up and roll them back. So a few little shoulder shrugs. Then we're going to move into two poses, Beer 1 and Beer 3, with the strap. So we're going to take our right foot forward and our left foot back. And the back heel or arch is pressing the strap down. Okay, so if you can get it under the heel, great, but if it slides to the arch, don't worry. It will stay put. You just might need to walk your hands down the strap a little bit. So I want you to get the feeling that you're reaching forward here instead of coming up. Root into the strap. Engage the floor with the strap. Spread open the bones of the feet. Rocket your crown forward. Drop the shoulders. Feel like there's windows in the fronts of your armpits that you're trying to open up. Collarbones are broad. Don't break the line of the spine by arching the back. Extend. And then as we're ready, we're going to come forward. You can take your foot down onto the ground, and we're going to lift up into Virabhadrasana 3, just like this. It's much easier to break the line of the spine here, so the floating ribs stay into the body. The extension of the spine is here. Broaden the collarbones. Find your rocket from your heel to your head. Breathe. Can you open the backs of the knees without hyperextending? All right, and then a big giant step back onto the strap. Open things up one more time. You might need to adjust your handle on the strap. And then walk your back foot forward. Let's change sides. So the strap's now going to go under our left foot. I'm sorry, our right foot. The left foot is forward. Okay, and just find that sense that you have enough tautness on the strap for your liking. Come into the pose. Your heel, your back heel is down onto the ground. So it can be up here where you're not lunging very deep, and you can also go into a very full posture. So you find what's happening for your body. Try not to break the line of your spine. Keep your crown reaching forward and up instead of back. Stay rooted in the back foot. Find your grounding. Open the collarbones. Okay, now when you're ready, we're going to take a little hop. So you're going to come forward. You can take the back foot forward a lot and find your balance, and then come back into Virabhadrasana 3. So hold the strap wherever is best for you. Stretch your heel in. Now remember, your pose can be up here. You do not have to be tipped way forward. You don't have to be parallel to the floor for this pose to be the pose. Crown, tail, heel, feeling that long line. Floating ribs in, three-dimensionality of the breath. Open the backs of the knees without hyperextending. Open the collarbones. All right, great. And then a big giant step back again. Virabhadrasana 1. Open the chest. Find the spine. Find the collarbones. And then relax. Walk the back foot forward. Take the strap away for a moment. Find your breath. 2 feet on the ground. Close your eyes for a moment. Maybe you want to shrug your shoulders up and relax them down. You get to decide. We're going to go into Gomukhasana, eagle pose. whether or not you like to wrap the legs or the arms first. I like to wrap the legs first, so I'm going to root my right foot down into the floor, pick up my left foot, cross it over. Now, if your foot doesn't hook around, and if it does, it makes your hips turn, unhook. So your foot can be hanging out like this. You do not have to wrap, but you can wrap. The most important thing here is that your pelvis stays facing forward instead of turning to the side. Find your breath. Because our left leg is on top, we're going to put our right arm over our left arm, so opposition. Take a deep breath, exhale, and settle in like a chair. Hug into your armpits, broaden your collarbones. Squeeze your legs, squeeze your thighs, squeeze your hip flexors, squeeze behind your knees. Breathe, three-dimensional breath, peek up at the collarbones, drop into the diaphragm. And then as you're ready, we're going to unwind our sponge, lift everything out, standing starfish. And then exhale and bring your feet back together. Second side, so we're going to stand on the left leg, wrap the right. If you like to do the arms first, that's fine. Just put your left arm on top so that your right leg can go on top. So you decide which wrapping you like to do. Make sure your hips didn't turn to the side. Keep them facing forward. Finding your breath, opening the collarbones, shoulder blades down the back. The heads of your shoulders and the heads of your hips are pointing toward the front of your mat. Squeeze into the midline. Crown and tail stays long. How is your three-dimensional breath? Can you peek at the top and bottom of your breath container? Okay, and then when you're ready, unwind the posture, standing starfish again. And then fold forward. Bend your knees. Relax. Melt your spine. Full breaths in. Full breaths away. Last time through a vinyasa, walk the hands forward and the feet back. Dog pose. See what it feels like. Do you want to bend your knee? Do you want to open up your palms? Open up the bottom of your feet. This is so good to feel these bare, broad feet. Deep breath in and away. Come forward into a plank when you're ready. Shoulders are over your wrists. Collarbones are broad. Your core is engaged on your exhales. Compress in. Give yourself that muscular contraction right through your core. Feed your lymph in your center body. You have a lot of it in there. Okay, put your knees down if you want first. Go ahead and find your way to the floor. This time you get to choose. Do you want to have a really open limbs in your back bend? Do you want to have another cobra pose? Do you want to come into Dhanurasana and grab your heels? Find a back bend that works for you. Maybe Sphinx pose, your choice. Yogi's choice for a back bend. Okay, find your way. Breathe your way. Feel your diaphragm. All right, and then relax and come back down. Turn your head to the side. Windshield wiper your knees. Deepening the breath. Turn your head the other way. Rest down now, legs down, palms on the floor instead of up toward the sky. Feel the relaxation of your body as it breathes into the floor. Can you feel where your breath goes easily in the body? Can you peek out through your container top and bottom? All right, and then let's come onto all fours. One more time, do a little swivel or a little sway or a little cat-cow, anything that's nurturing. Settle back towards child's pose. And then one more time up. Open the breath. Exhale. Arms down at your sides. Okay, so squeeze the backs of the knees. Squeeze the groins. Okay, let's go ahead and come out of that posture. We're going to come down onto our back again. Okay. Bridge pose is great for opening up across the collarbones. All right, so what we're going to do 2 different back bends here. First, bridge pose. If you tend, when you come up into your full bridge pose, if you interlace your fingers behind your back and you find that this makes your shoulders round and roll forward, then scrap that. Don't interlace your hands. Instead, turn your palms up toward the sky now, and the arms are down on the floor next to your rib cage when you begin. When you come on up, roll onto the tops of the shoulders. See what it feels like to open the armpit chest up. Feel the heads of the arm bones drop back, either with your hands interlaced or arms down at your sides. You can also take, like people call these robot arms, where your hands are up and you can press your elbows. I like to open my biceps too, but whatever works for your body. Now find your breath. Make sure your neck is not compressed. You don't want to push your neck into the floor. If anything, have just a slight pressure in the back of your head so your neck is neutral. Feel your breath. Let your belly rise, let your belly fall. Spread open across the collarbones. Give some energy into that thoracic duct where it meets the subclavian vein. Deep breaths here. Root into the feet. Can you feel your exhale go all the way out? What happens when your belly drops all the way down? Okay, let's go ahead and come out of there. Don't bring your knees to your chest, even if you have an urge to. Instead, just go left and right, because we have one more back bend to do. Okay, so this next one, you need your blanket or pillow or whatever you have. If you can make it long, that's great. And whatever you have, you can make something work, I'm sure. We're going to take this between our shoulder blades, okay? And we're going to have our arms straight out to the sides. So if you need another blanket under your head, take that. If you want more or less height, just experiment and find what's right for you. And see what you can do so that the top edges of your shoulders can kind of drop down a little bit on the top edge of the blanket. So once again, we don't want this rolling of the shoulders forward. We want them to melt. And then if it's comfortable for your shoulders, go ahead and stretch open your hands. And we're just going to do a little bit of fist squeezing in and opening up. Okay? Very gentle. You don't have to, have all your fist strength. No one's testing your hand strength here. So just sense it. Make sure your pinkies get involved too. All 5 of your fingers. Okay, and then relax them, stretch them. Don't relax them, stretch them open. And then relax. Melt everything. Now you can take a few different positions once we're in resting place here. If you want to do Supta Baddha Konasana with your legs, you can. If you want your legs straight, you can. If you want your knees bent, you can. You decide. Same with the arms. Are they comfortable like this? Would you rather cactus the arms open? Maybe you'd rather grab onto your elbows and stretch your arms over your head. This opens the armpit chest in a very different way. So whatever you want to try. Okay, so treat your shoulders with respect. If you're having shoulder issues, you might want your arms down at your sides. Okay, so whatever is working for you, see what you can do to kind of open the armpit chest up a little bit. Deep inhale, deep exhale. Take the opportunity for good top, bottom, in, out, all around breathing. All right. If your knees weren't bent, bend them. And then we're going to roll over onto one side. Curl into a little ball. Support your head with your arm. Take a breath into the back of your body. All right, and then I'm going to come on up. All right, so that blanket can be used now. We're going to sit. We have one more collarbone posture to do. So we're going to sit on the edge of the blanket. And soles of the feet are together. Baddha Konasana legs. All right, so interlace your fingers, or maybe not. You may not go that far, but you just want to kind of get your fingers underneath the knife edge, the outside edge of your feet, and lift your chest. So try to get the armpit chest to lift open, to kind of come out from hiding, okay? Open your chest, spread open your collarbones, drop the knees, lift the crown. Now same, we can do a few, you can be just like this. You can do some different movements with your head. So you can try dropping your chin toward your chest. You can try imagining a roll towel behind your head, touch your teeth, lift your chin up. All the while breathing. You can come back to neutral and lift one ear up. All the while breathing, all the while opening the armpit chest, feeling the openness across your collarbones. Change sides if you're doing an ear up. How are you breathing? Try to get the top of your lungs to peek up over the collarbones, like a little game hide and seek. They're up, they're down. They're up, they're down. Okay. And then relax. Get rid of the hands underneath. Tuck your chin towards your chest. Round just a little bit as you come forward, just enough to soften. And then come back up. Take the knees, bring them toward each other. Okay. Come with the blanket again. Okay, so hopefully you found yourself a blanket or a pillow or something. We're going to put our pelvis on the blanket, and you can go higher if you have a bolster. There's lots of things you can do. You might need blocks for this, you might not. Okay, we're going to come into a twist with our pelvis just a little bit above our heart. So we're going to lift the hips, scooch them to the right. Knees are going to come up and drop them left. This is where a block might come in handy, or you can stick a block underneath your calf or your shin or your knee. Okay, finding your breath. So notice this twist is a little different when our pelvis is just a little bit above, or a lot of bit above. Maybe you have a bolster underneath you, above your heart. Okay. And if you don't have a block, no problem. You can also stick your fist there so that there's a little bit of support if you need it. And maybe you don't need it. Maybe your feet or your legs easily come to the floor. Turn your head the opposite way. Open across your chest. And then come on up, bring your knees, put your feet on the ground, scooch neutral for a moment, and then let's go the other way. Knees up, or hips over to the left, knees up and over to the right. Support underneath your calf or your knee with a block if you need it, or a pillow or a blanket or a Tupperware or a book, anything you have. Find a good breath. Feel that sponge again. Okay, and then let's go ahead and bring ourselves out. Now with Shavasana, so first of all, if there's anything else you need, if you want to do a reverse pigeon and stretch your hip, you can stay on this bolster to do that. You can come just knees to your chest, or happy baby pose, or take your legs wide apart and come into an inner thigh stretch. So take a moment to kind of nourish any part of you that needs some nourishing. And then as you're ready for Shavasana, if you want to, legs up the wall is a great option if you want to do that. You can be flat on the floor if you want to do that. You can go halfway in between and put your calves up on your chair or your couch. So anytime we're working with fluid regulation with the lymph, if we reverse gravity, we help our lymph. So legs up the wall, any inversion will help drain all the lymph from your lower body toward your collarbones, toward the thoracic duct. So just see what you want to do. And it really is entirely up to you. You might want to be on the floor with your limbs wide. Okay. You may want to have just a regular old Shavasana. So you do you in whatever way is most comfortable for you. And as you settle into the ground, first just take a few breaths and let yourself really drop. Let the bones get heavy. Feel the earth give you its support. Give yourself over to the earth. And then find your breath. Okay, so see what you can do. Remember, lymph likes to be warm, so if you're at all cold, cover yourself. And then as you settle into this posture, see what it feels like to cultivate your fluid awareness. So can you become watery? Can you melt and feel that you are mostly water? Even though you have skin and bones and muscles, even these things microscopically are water. So feel your liquid nature. As you breathe, see if you can sense that the breath can be a stimulant for the flow of prana and the flow of fluids in your body. That everywhere is open. There's no little eddies in your river. Everywhere is free without stagnation. You've opened your channels, and now you get to let movement of energy flow. The eyes are soft. The jaw is soft. As you are ready, you can begin to Deepen your breathing. Imagine your breath is just yet another watery, flowing substance that can travel all around to your edges and back again. Start to stretch open the palms. Open the palms, stretch your fingers. Do the same thing with your feet. Stretch your feet. And then maybe roll your wrists and ankles. Find your way into any movement that is right for your body. Come rolling onto your side as you are ready. No rush. Let's use our arms. Lift yourself upright. And just notice, are you a little more open? Do you feel things moving in your body a little more freely, especially your lymph, your fluid body? Is your breath steady and deep? Let's bring the palms together and bow in. Offer your energy. So this sense of resiliency and strength and fluidity, just offer it outward, share. Just because you give it away doesn't mean you get to keep it. So you get to do both. You get to keep it and share. Namaste. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for being here.